You're listening to this episode on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. Hit that subscribe button and leave us a comment. It would greatly benefit the show. Alright, welcome to Movie Bitters with the Farx brothers. I'm Kirk.
I'm Kyle.
I'm Nick.
And we're joined by Mick Lynch.
Hello.
Sorry, I just forgot already. Composer and producer.
Hello.
And we're talking about Wake Up Dead Man.
Yes.
A Knives Out
A
mystery.
Knives Out mystery.
I didn't see that in the title card.
Rian Johnson's
Yeah.
Wake Up Dead Man, A Knives Out mystery, parentheses, with Benoit Blanc.
A clearly $200 million movie, because
Yeah.
that's what they spent to make it.
Really? I thought they were, well, I guess the deal when they made it a few years back, I guess that it was at least $40 million for production budget for each movie. But that, so they could go.
No. 400 million for 2 movies.
Yeah, but specifically the budgets, and there was a clause in the deal that said the budgets had to be at least $40 million.
Oh,
To at least match or maybe slightly exceed the original movie.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
That's got to be almost entirely to the cast.
Could be. I mean, it's a lot.
I mean, there is some cool sets and lighting in this.
they're not
Really
getting
well
visuals.
shot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so you thought this one? Is this our favorite? Can we do in the non-spoilers? Which is your favorite Knives Out mystery?
I think this is probably my favorite Knives Out mystery. It's this or the first. They all had something that I liked. Glass Onion, I think, was the funniest, but wasn't as well constructed
The funniest.
as the
Wow.
first or this one. I liked the
defend it being the funniest.
I
sir.
like making fun of celebrities. I like that it was. I like anything that is like a making fun of celebrity culture. I think it's an easy target, but I think there's a lot to be found there. And so Glass Onion was the funniest to me, but I also think it was probably the weakest as a mystery and writing wise of the three.
Yeah, I agree.
That's how I felt too.
Yeah.
Like I thought I was waiting for another. Can I spoil Glass Onion?
You can spoil
Yeah.
Glass Onion.
I was waiting for like, okay, I know it seems like Edward Norton, but it's gonna be someone else. And no, it was just fucking Edward Norton.
And I guess that was the point where it was kind of like, yeah, there isn't this is like the kind of message is like these people and this culture is as surface level as it seems, and it's like, yeah, but that still makes it not a very good mystery.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
You're making a good point, but it's not a good like.
Yeah.
It makes for a very unsatisfying mystery.
Well, it's old money, then new money, and then religion.
Yeah.
Is kind of the
I
trilogy
guess
so
so.
far. Because the first one's Old Money with Christopher Plummer.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking about the characters, sure. I don't know so much about like if it's making a statement.
I feel like the second one was less about money and more about fame.
Influencers.
Well, I think it's
it's
about
a new
influence.
kind of currency.
That's true.
Yeah, but they also
don't
have
think it's
unlimited
about
money.
the wealth that they have. I think it's about the power that they have and how people look up to them.
There's a part of...
Wait, I disrupted. I want to see.
Well, isn't it, does having
everybody
immense
rank them.
wealth
rank
equate to immense power, or does it not? I would qualify immense wealth equates to immense power.
Well, I always go with the House of Cards thing where, what's his name? The Kevin Spacey character. It'll be interesting to see if that comes up later, Kevin Spacey. Brings up that...
Is that why you do these out of order?
No, it's not why. It's to make the guests more comfortable by talking about themselves.
That's fair.
So that when we like get ready to disagree with them, then they're like more engaged for us. Like, no, we talked about you for a half hour. That's what you're wrong about this motherfucker. Something. What was I? I was somewhere with Benoit and doesn't.
I don't know.
I
you didn't answer my question.
your question was.
Does immense power equal? No, does immense wealth equal immense power? Aren't they this one and the same?
Okay, yeah, that's the
Yeah.
Kevin Spacey thing in House of Cards is that people equate money with power, and really power is more powerful than money. Money is cheap and tawdry at the end of the day, and having actual power, Elon might be the richest, but Donald gets to tell him to fuck off.
But to be fair, he more or less bought an election.
That's true.
Yeah.
But I also think that he's like, I think it's kind of more, I think that wealth creates an illusion of power. I don't think that wealth creates real power. I think that's kind of what I guess that second Knives Out was kind of about wealth then, because I think that's kind of what it was about. Is it about if someone is very successful and makes a lot of money or becomes very famous, we assume that they really know what they're talking about. And I think that the point of that movie was that that is a false assumption to make, because there are so many sort of systemic and historic influences on what people end up being successful, rather than like just if you're good at something. I thought it was sort of anti-capitalist. We'll see if that comes up later. I mean, all these movies are clearly, but
well, it is still meritocracy, because like, so for capitalism to be, I appreciate the argument for anti-capitalism. I'm not going to say that I'm an anti-capitalist, because to a degree, meritocracy, where it can exist, and capitalism can motivate meritocracy for people to do better, that's good. Benoit Blanc doesn't do it because, you know, money, but he does get money, and he cares about money, as is clearly shown through, you know, as is confirmed by Wake Up Dead Man.
That's true, but he also, I think there was a scene in Glass Onion where he like didn't really care about being paid by, like, he saw the injustice that was happening to, we already spoiled that
Glass Onion.
He cared about the injustice that was happening to the sister character, the Janelle Monáe character, enough that he was like, I vaguely, I might be wrong about this, but I remember him not really like being concerned about being paid for that, because he was more concerned with the justice of
As
it.
I was rewatching Glass Onion and Wake Up Dead Man today, and the scene I think you're referring to, where the sister comes to Benoit and is like, hey, I need you to help solve this, and he's like, yeah, but I need you to go with me, and I'll still do it whether or not, but like, I need you. So I kind of took it as, I'm going to get the money either way, but I want to influence how this is going. I think he's more motivated by being the best.
Yeah, but I mean, I also think that like, we're going off the rails with the movie, but I do think these are the kind of conversations that these movies are having. But I think that like you can be against the sort of morals and tenets of capitalism while still existing in that, because like, you can be against capitalism as a structure and still like get paid and pay for things because you still are currently living under it. It just means you oppose the system that you currently exist within.
Yeah, a lot of like no one really has a choice to do it. Like, I feel like I kind of consider myself a capitalist, but not one who would like want to exploit. If I had employees, I would not want to feel like I'm exploiting them, and I'm only.
But how would you know they're doing enough work?
Well, that's a discussion, but
They
like,
never are. That's why.
but like,
And if they're working from home, how would you know they're doing enough work?
and it's like, why do I charge when I go out and I shoot like a day of corporate video? Like, why do I have to charge? Like, it's because I have expenses. So it's a domino effect where you kind of just have to. That's the game that everyone's in. Whether you didn't choose to join the game, you were chosen when you were born.
Yeah, I think being an anti-capitalist is just about feeling in one way or another that like we as a society should move away from having that structure and not feeling like I'm not part of this game.
Yeah,
because you have to be.
Benoit Blanc doesn't choose the murders. The murders happen.
Benoit Blanc is just following orders.
Yeah.
I mean,
sorry.
Well, that's certainly the future. Like these guys like to tell us have in store for us, even though I don't believe them. But like, oh, you're gonna work 2 days a week, or you won't have to work at all, and everyone's gonna be wealthy. And like, that's not mathematically possible. And I don't believe you're going to do it. Like, you're a trillion. You could be a trillionaire soon, maybe. So I don't believe you. And just, you don't need a crystal ball to see the future. You just need a rearview mirror. Is like what I like to say. Is like we have 5 decades of like innovation that has not paid off in a grand way for us. So it's like, why should I think that it's going to change now?
Us as in the proletariat.
Yes, just regular people.
I'm an elite, just to be clear.
We get, we get the little dangling carrots.
I'm at least bourgeoisie.
Okay, you're at least petty bourgeois.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I think that like, I don't know. My thought is like, I'm at a point right now where I feel like, and I also think that I grew up in a much more sort of seeing the structure of America start to fall apart point than you guys do. Like you grew up, you definitely.
I totally believed in America right after 9/11, and then we went into Iraq.
You thought we were totally like doing the right thing
when we went and like killed a bunch of people in a country that had nothing to do with the attack. Sure.
Iraq.
Yeah.
Like, I can see how I remember a time when I had more hope, and I remember the hope being lost. And then I remember the hope being choked. So you were more around in the hope choking time. Yeah, maybe that's true.
Like I became conscious in the time where the hope was already choking, and I think that gives me like more like all I'd ever seen of a capitalist system is like this inevitably incentivizes people to exploit. Like this leads to exploitation.
Can I argue that you're not seeing a capitalist system because it's social? It's communism for a certain elite group of people who are at the upper end of the system where it's like, hey, don't tax me and let me decide how my industry should be, but that's not how capitalist meritocracy should work. It should be, oh, you're big and stupid, so a small innovator can come along and take over your business and then create market share, taking it away from you, and that drives the innovation. But that's not what happens because businesses are controlled from top down, and industries are controlled by like smaller and smaller groups of companies. So you've been in that time, which as he put 5 decades on it, I would agree with that because that goes back to 1975, and that's kind of when neoliberalism, neoconservatism is going, let's just do mergers and acquisitions, baby. Yeah. Bigger businesses, more efficient, simpler.
Yeah. Oh, man.
And less competition.
Less competition. Old money stays old and money. And, some of those new innovators get the big money, but, what is the innovation they're handing down?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of like this, a project of mine that we're going to talk about more later is kind of using the aesthetic of the time period where that was first happening, or even like before that where you had this sort of idealism of the 40s and 50s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Kind of using that aesthetic to poke fun at neoliberalism and neoconservatism. It's, but we'll talk more about that. Enough about me. Let's
get back to the movie.
Let's get to the movie.
The ranking, we didn't do the rankings.
Our economic systems? What?
The rankings. We never did the rankings.
Yeah.
You want to rank them? You're the guest. You go first, Mick. Or does anyone have their rankings like right off the top?
I think I have mine. I think this could be recency bias, but I think from best to worst, I think it's Wake Up Dead Man, Knives Out, Glass Onion.
Is anyone going to say different than that?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I mean, I'm torn. I think there's very close. I definitely liked it more than Glass Onion. Glass Onion, I felt like the comedy was a little too over the top. A little like if satire goes too much, then it's like caricature. It's just not what I was expecting or maybe wanted in a sequel to Knives Out because there was satire of the characters in Knives Out, but it was pretty subdued.
It was a mystery movie it was a mystery comedy with political satire, and the second one felt like a political satire with a mystery that doesn't really feel satisfying.
Yeah, there's like the mystery was tacked on to like, oh, we're gonna make fun of these class of people.
And they did do a good job of that, but like it isn't what I think most of us were looking for.
Yeah. I would say Wake Up Dead Man slightly below Knives Out, and then Knives Out. Knives Out. Yeah, 1, 3, 2.
Yeah,
3, 1, 2.
Mine would have been the same. 1, 3, 2. Yeah.
I'm wondering if not thinking Glass Onion was as good as Knives Out makes some of us feel as though Wake Up Dead Man is better because it's not, it's improvement on Knives Out.
What has a better mystery, for sure.
I think it might be the best mystery so far.
Did you guess the mystery in any of them or all of them? I've guessed who the killer was every time I've watched these movies.
I mean, I definitely guessed it for the second one. I think I might have gotten the first one kind of spoiled for me. Like, I think someone described it to me before I saw it, so I don't know if I would have guessed that. This one was like exactly where you want a mystery to fall, where you kind of do put it together right before they like you get a very good picture of what happened and why right before it's explained to you. Like, I feel like I didn't like right off the bat go, oh, it's that person, but I did, like, as we were like sort of entering the third act, I think I was like, I know what happened and why it happened, and because of that I have a pretty good guess at who made that happen. And I feel like that's, like, in my eyes, the most satisfying a mystery can be, is like you feel like you have solved it kind of right as the detective seems to have solved it, but before they explain it.
Yeah, because you don't want to be sitting there for like half the movie, the whole back half of the movie, like knowing who did it and like urging the detective to figure it out. Like, figure it out, dumbass.
Like we've been doing for Scream movies.
Well, yeah, in the Scream, like, they're the way that, and like I'm confident in my get. Like, I was totally right about the last Scream movie, and I think I'm right about Scream 7. The only reason I didn't guess Scream 5 is because they had
More than one.
No, because they always do, except for Scream 3. It was just they had what's the word? A surplus of like do nothing characters. Which, can I spoil Scream 5 on this episode?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Like,
A much better mystery movie.
Yeah, it is. Like you have a Nora girl, and you have that other girl with like the pink hair. Like, you have all these characters who are just do nothing characters. Like, they're not doing anything throughout the movie. And like, it's gonna be one of them. So, but just if you have more than one of them, if you have enough of those characters, which that movie did, then it just makes it a game of odds. There's no logic to it about being wrong or right about it.
That's how I felt about sorry, I don't want to cut you
Oh,
off.
no, I was pretty much done with that.
I felt that way about that Netflix Wednesday show, which I really didn't like.
Is there
the first season or
Is
the
there a
second?
mystery?
The first season.
Okay, I didn't guess the person you're supposed to guess in the first season as being the bad guy.
Is it a murder
I
mystery
did
movie?
because there were
TV
just
show?
two characters who would have nothing else to do if they weren't
Oh, sure, yeah, exactly.
the ones who did it.
Yeah.
And so it was like, I was like, well, they wouldn't be in the show if they didn't do it. Like, those characters would have no reason to, and I think that's what these movies do really well, these Knives Out movies do really well, is because it is so ensemble focused in the same way that like the stuff that it's drawing from, like Agatha Christie and Sherlock Holmes stories, two authors, Agatha Christie and Sherlock Holmes.
You're correct. Those are authors.
Right. Yes.
Done a good job.
Our
You can read. I understand.
I can. Yes, I can. And there's actually a little detail, a little Sherlock Holmes nod that I caught in this because I'm a nerd about those stories that I'll talk about in spoilers. But
Oh, okay.
I feel like these do that really well because they kind of give you such an ensemble that you don't really think about what function each character is serving in the story, and you just kind of think about it as like, no, I believe this group of people. Like, I believe, like, I think that that's why the political satire is a perfect combination with it, because the political satire gives every character a reason to exist. If they each represent something, then it gives them a reason to exist, and so you don't think about what's the point of this character within the mystery.
That's a good point. Like, yeah, I mean, the bottom line is you have to have a character, because, I mean, and I can speak to this from wrapping up a screenplay where I'm trying to cover up a whodunit, like, and plant red herrings and like
You're
give
doing
character.
a whodunit?
What's that?
You're doing a whodunit?
Well, you don't know it's a whodunit.
Okay,
But I'm preparing for like if someone outsmarts me and knows that the initial conceit is bullshit.
Yeah.
That is a supernatural thing, and they start thinking of it as a whodunit. There are red herrings for them to latch on to.
So it works on both layers.
So like if someone figures that out, and it's like, well, this person they need to have a purpose, otherwise, and I think that it's the same logic applies with anything that you, even just like the typical like plant and payoff of a screenplay, where like you're gonna plant the little seed somewhere, and like if it has no purpose in that scene, it's gonna be a payoff later, and then people can start thinking ahead of it and figuring it out. Even if it's not a whodunit, it's just more like here's this thing that's gonna be a callback later in the last 10 minutes of the movie. But if you can like do a false payoff and give it a purpose, then it's like, oh, it's paid off. We're not gonna think about it anymore. So it's like the same with characters in a whodunit. I think like.
And I think that goes back to why we talked about Glass Onion not quite working as well, because that's almost the opposite, where it wants you to look at it as a whodunit, and it then at the end is like, no, it's the person who really obviously did
Who
it.
you
like,
just thought from the beginning.
Yeah.
I assumed I knew who did it in this one for similar reasons that Nick assumed he knew who did it in Scream 6, Thanksgiving, and...
That's a casting thing.
Yeah.
There's a casting thing there too. I mean, like with.
Sure.
Can I spoil? Do you intend to see Scream 6 or Thanksgiving or Scream 7?
Yeah.
Like when when you got these movies that are like mid-budget movies and they're casting a lot of actors who aren't like super well known, but they have a few members in the cast. I'm like, oh, I've seen them in more things than everyone else.
I know who the fuck that is.
Yeah.
That's probably the killer.
When Thanksgiving, the slasher movie, like when you've never seen anyone in that movie in anything else at all, except for Rick Hoffman. Yeah, I'm like, oh, you got Patrick Dempsey to play a sheriff. Okay, obviously he's going to be the killer, and he was.
Yeah.
Wait, wasn't he a killer in one of the Screams too?
No, well, you thought he might be in Scream 3. He had some really suspicious
That
moments.
fed into the Wednesday thing too, with one of the two killers in Wednesday, where it was like, I'm going to spoil the first season of Wednesday, but
I'm never going to watch
it was like,
that.
why is Christina Ricci in this?
What?
Like, she has a cameo in this because she was Wednesday, and it's like, oh, cute, a cameo, and then she keeps being in the show, and it's like, well, her character is nothing, so she did it, and that's like a bad reveal too, because it's like, you don't care about this character.
I only finished that show because Beetlejuice was coming out. And I was like, well, I need to finish the last thing Tim did. And I
so I know where my expectations should lie.
Yeah, and I walked out of the second, one of those movies, pissed. Don't you remember? I came out pissed and was like,
Beetlejuice too?
It stinks. And I was like,
it's not great. It's not great.
Because it was a 7, and I was expecting an 8.
Oh.
And basically it was the same.
1 point off and got you real riled up.
We went into
very specific expectations.
I have a bar, clear it, and we're good. I try to ratchet it down.
It is almost more infuriating when something comes very close to the bar and is under it than when something is like bad.
My multiverse of madness, Doctor Strange, going in expecting a 9. Probably a 7.5 to an 8.
I'd say an 8. It's maybe one of my favorite of the MCU, but that's a low bar. That's a low bar. So to like,
don't get this one started. I don't want to.
Well, he doesn't even watch them. So
if you go into Multiverse of Madness expecting a Marvel movie, you're gonna love it. If you go into expecting a Sam Raimi movie, there's
enough Sam Raimi elements in it that I like.
I actually really liked that movie, but you're right that it's probably like an 8 for me, and I went into it thinking, well, I didn't like the first Doctor Strange very much, and I'm a big fan of Doctor Strange as a comic character.
Oh, did you read it before?
Yeah.
I read the 70s stuff, because I don't know what's wrong with it.
I mean, I read it probably after the first movie came out, but I mean, the early Marvel movies were like at the right time for me as a nerd growing up, that they got me into, like they pointed me towards the comics that I would really like. And so even though the first Doctor Strange wasn't that good or special,
I'm going to push back. I thought it was good and special. It did Inception as a Marvel movie.
It was good, I don't think it was very special. I did think it was pretty good. I think having read a bunch of comics after watching that, Multiverse of Madness is way more of like what I want from a Doctor Strange movie. Like that's way more what the energy of the comics is.
This isn't fucking Benoit Blanc, but it's close enough. But what I get disappointed by from reading Doctor Strange books that you don't get from any of the MCU, it's because the MCU is sanitized and stuff, is like when he does magic, it's like icky and costs him in like ways that like he gets like sores on his hand yeah, and I don't do that.
You don't like it?
No.
Oh,
I
okay.
like that. What I don't like about the MCU is that
they don't do that.
They don't do that.
Yeah,
because it's too.
I liked the magic in Multiverse of Madness a lot more. This is so okay.
It's a good like hey.
It's hard to talk about a whodunit without spoilers. Is I think maybe why we're having trouble.
I'm going to talk about how you guys feel about what's his name as Bond after this, but I want to hear this real bad.
What's his name as Bond?
About Doctor Strange.
Yeah,
I really liked the magic in Multiverse of Madness because I thought they didn't really do that still, but I really liked that it was so much more just kind of like, yeah, whatever, man. I'm just kind of pulling like that Moon Knight meme where he's just throwing a bunch of gadgets and going random bullshit, go. Like that's what the magic in Multiverse of Madness felt like, and I liked that because that is a lot of in the comics. It does get a lot like gnarlier and more sort of like old witchcraft where it is like you have to put something into this to get something out of it. But I did like that in the first Doctor Strange it was very much like just magic is just you get you can make orange light that does various things, and that's what our magic is.
It felt like science magic.
Yeah.
Or science fiction bullshit magic.
It felt like just like orange like stuff that Iron Man could do with different CGI. Like and then Multiverse of Madness felt very much more like, oh, this is like a wizard Marvel movie. Like this is what a comic book sorcerer would do. Like you couldn't really do this with a different character.
Specifically the fight with musical notes and stuff like that. I
Yeah.
agree. So where are we at with, did you grow up with the James Bond? Like this was your James Bond.
Yeah, I guess so. I've never been that big of a James Bond. My hot take is that I think that Mission Impossible is better than James Bond by a long shot.
Not after 8.
I haven't seen.
The
Okay,
Final
I actually
Reckoning?
haven't seen 8. I'm gonna. So,
You only need to watch a half hour of 8.
I'm still riding the high of Fallout, and
Yeah.
so I think Fallout is better than any Bond movie.
80?
Probably that's true that it's on the same level as like Skyfall, because
Skyfall is probably my favorite.
Richard Deakins hasn't shot a Mission Impossible movie, and so that's kind of my argument.
That's true. It was shot very, but I think like script-wise and action-wise, as far as action, like nothing has topped Fallout for me. As far as action movies,
I'm not going to argue with that. I'm totally on that point.
It's strange because I can't remember. I saw Fallout in the theater,
it's-
and I can't remember anything but the end, like the fight on the cliff and the helicopter.
Oh, yeah.
I don't.
That's
like
pretty good.
I really
Yeah.
like the first Mission Impossible I ever saw was Ghost Protocol, and I really liked that.
Oh, yeah.
and that made me interested to go see.
Great. I really like Rogue Nation too. I think 4, 5, 6.
It's like
was a great run of
weird
movies.
that I can't remember anything from the ones after 4.
Do you remember anything from Bond, the Daniel Craig Bonds?
The only one I actually ever saw all the way through was No Time to Die, and I didn't like it at all.
Did you make it through?
The last one?
I did not like No Time
You
to
didn't
Die.
make it so when he gets whipped in the balls with rope.
Casino
That's
Royale.
Casino Royale. That's
Oh,
the
yeah.
first one.
Great.
Yes.
That's like your whole lifetime is Daniel Craig, because like that was 2006.
That's what.
Yeah, it is. I guess my Bond has been like my life Bond. No, Craig has been my lifetime Bond. I don't know. I've never been that big of a Bond guy. I love Skyfall. I think Skyfall is a great movie. I've seen Casino Royale. I've seen Spectre, and I've seen, I think, a good chunk of No Time to Die, and I didn't like any of them other than Skyfall.
Quantum of Solace.
I don't think I even I think I got to Quantum of Solace late enough that people were like, "Oh, you don't need to."
Don't even bother. Is it
Yeah.
that bad?
It works as
It's not
just a
great.
an action movie. If you're just watching it as an action movie.
But if I want an
it's good.
action movie, there's like 7 good Mission Impossibles that I
There
can watch.
are
6. Okay, wait, 2 exists. 1,
Yeah, 2 is
3,
bad.
4, 5, 6.
Wait, you don't like 2?
No.
2 is
What about
terrible.
two?
You like
Two?
2?
Mission Impossible 2.
Mission
all the
Impossible
flying
2 is one of
doves
the
and
worst
things,
movies I've
yeah.
ever seen.
The
So much-
motorcycle
do you not
jump.
Wait, what?
Do I
The
not like
motorcycle
Limp
jump
Bizkit?
where they go. Yeah, the motorcycle.
Do you not like Face Off?
I don't know if I've seen Face Off.
Okay.
I get that was a big sort of.
John Woo is like a thing, so it's,
Yeah.
if
Yeah,
you don't
and
like
Flying
John
Doves.
Woo
I
movies,
think Mission Impossible 2 is the first, and I think still maybe the only John Woo movie I've seen. So I don't really have the stylistic foundation that would make me
That's
get
fair.
it.
You just
So I
have
didn't.
doves flying in the background.
Yeah,
for the
or
I
fuckers
just
and-
slow
watched it as a
motion.
Mission Impossible movie, and I hated it as a Mission Impossible movie.
It's kind of like when they take something and go in a different direction. Black Phone did this, where it was like Black Phone was one thing, and now they're doing this type of horror movie, which is different than what the first one did, but they're adding something. Mission Impossible it's a Brian De Palma movie, or maybe it's now a John Woo movie, and then it's
Now it's a J.J. Abrams movie.
which is really no one's movie because he doesn't have a style.
he
He's
doesn't have a
the
style.
wrong
That
hour.
lens flares?
flares.
Other than
Yeah,
that, I was gonna
lens
say the
flares.
flares and
Yeah,
like
what
the
about
shaky
that?
up close cam where it's just
That was Philip Seymour Hoffman's movie.
yeah. I was gonna say it's a shaky handheld close up on.
Oh, it's out of sequence.
I will hurt
I'm gonna
her.
find
Yeah,
her,
yeah,
and I'm gonna
yeah.
hurt her.
Yeah.
I do like 3, and you should all love.
I
3.
still have not
Yeah,
seen.
3 is the
3,
best.
I like.
I would argue 3 is the best.
This guy's
Really?
gonna go-
Yeah.
That's a fair. I think 3 is maybe the strongest, like character-wise.
Yeah. I
3
do
probably has the best. It's the best characterization of Ethan Hunt.
4 or 6.
4
Easily Ghost Protocol
4 or
or
6.
Fallout.
Oh,
for
Ghost
me.
Protocol is really good. I'm just.
Do a
was
Mission
so-
Impossible marathon.
We will have to do Mission Impossible. Okay, so where are you at with Benoit? Or I was gonna say Benoit Blanc, but I meant
Daniel
to say
Craig?
Hercule Poirot. Are you guys?
I'm not a big Poirot. I'm a big Holmes guy. So if we want to get to
Did you read the whole thing?
the whole Sherlock Holmes mythos, most of it, I read. I think I've read from the original novel, the Study in Scarlet, up to the Final Problem, and then I didn't read any of the sort of post killing off Holmes. I haven't really read much of that.
Because he dies with Moriarty in
Final Problem.
and then he comes back because he landed on a
Something.
something.
Arthur Conan
and-
Doyle brought him back because he
and
was
doesn't
going broke.
Moriarty
Actually,
not die too?
I don't know if they did that in the books or not because I've watched the BBC show, which I liked at the time and now do not like at all in retrospect.
Why?
I mean, I don't hate it. I think it's not a great adaptation of those characters. I don't like. I think that a lot of what is cool about that character and that story is the sort of aesthetic and context of the time period and place where it is. And so I think that, like, if you're going to take it out of the time and place, I mean, I guess it's the same place, but if you're going to take it out of it being like a very core, a character that is very grounded in the Victorian era, I think if you're taking it out, you might as well not make him a detective, which is why I do like House MD, baby. I think House MD did what BBC
detective show?
Sherlock did better. Because it was just kind of like, yeah, whatever. We'll do those characters
How
in
do you
modern
feel
day.
about RDJ being like a?
Love them.
You
I
love.
love those movies. I have like a deep. I grew up. My dad loves those movies, and so I definitely grew up with them. But I think that like
Oh yeah, they predate you. Sorry,
Wow.
the first one is, or no, they're like.
you didn't see either in a theater.
I think I might have seen the second one in a theater.
Game of
Second-
Shadows?
It was what 2009 and 2011, I think.
Sure. Okay.
So I might have seen Game of Shadows in theaters.
Sweet.
But I love both of those. I think those are a very good adaptation, even though it's like obviously. I said this offhandedly about Frankenstein. I don't remember if you were here yet for this, but I said this before we started recording. I think that the Guillermo del Toro Frankenstein kind of does a similar thing, where it's like, rather than kind of leaving all of the nuance and all of the depth of the characters and the sort of little world of it. You just kind of pick your favorite elements and adapt them very well, and then dial up the spectacle by like a million. I think that Frankenstein, the new Frankenstein, did that for that book, and it worked really well. And I will argue that the Guy Ritchie Sherlock Holmes movies do that, where it's kind of like we're taking just the like humor and personality and character of these of the books, and then putting them into a movie that is way more dialed up spectacle and action. I feel like it's a good. I think that the BBC Sherlock adapted the mysteries pretty well, but didn't adapt the characters very well. And I think the RDJ Sherlock did adapt the characters very well and the aesthetic very well, and kind of just chose not to be that concerned with the mysteries. And I don't mind that, because even like the writing of the like Sherlock Holmes mysteries are always more like it's so pulpy that it's like not the same as like a Agatha Christie whodunit kind of thing. It's never like you have a cast of characters that you get to know, except for in like Hound of the Baskervilles, which is like maybe the only like really good mystery in that mythos.
Well, I was going to argue that Sherlock always has details that you could go off if it's not about
That's
cast
true, but
of
it's always
characters
so
you're picking
quick.
from.
Like, it's not something that gives you time to. I mean, I guess you're reading
That's
it.
your fault,
I guess
bro.
I just am good at reading. But no, I feel
Brag
like
about
Sherlock Holmes, for me, those books are not that much about a super compelling mystery. It's more about fun characters and a fun little serialized adventures.
Is that the case with these movies, the Knives Out movies, where it's more about the characters than it is
Yeah,
the
they're
mystery?
definitely about the characters.
No, I think it's more about the mystery than it is
No.
about the
I
characters.
think it does I think it strikes a better balance, and I think it's because it makes it so political. I think that, like we said earlier, I think that because I think the political angle makes up for
The political angle, I'm sorry, makes up for...
like what you might miss in either not getting enough characterization or not enough mystery. I think that it adds a third element that the typical whodunit or the typical like pulp mystery like Sherlock Holmes, it's always like either about characters that you like or a mystery that you're compelled by. And I think that these do both of those and add the political satire element, which kind of feels like these movies, Glass Onion less so, even though I do think that's a good movie. Knives Out and Wake Up Dead Man are like two of my favorite mystery stories ever. Not just as mysteries, but like of the genre.
What is the political satire of Wake Up Dead Man?
I mean, I think that's like. Do you want me to explain it to you, or like, are you just prompting me? 'Cause I think that that what it's saying about religion, I think, is political in the sense that like.
Well, anything about religion is ultimately political, somewhat. I also believe all movies are propaganda, so like
I do
I'm
too.
the wrong person.
That's very Marxist of you, Mr. Capitalist.
All movies are propaganda. No, because then in the marketplace of ideas, the movies are each competing with their ideas to, compete for the best idea to, like, clearly Avatar has the best idea.
No, it doesn't.
That's
does
why
not.
it's the greatest.
It does not.
That's why it's the
why it's
biggest
the
movie of
most-
all time.
Yeah.
I am
It's
so
the most
baffled by the
movie.
fact that I don't know anyone personally, I think, that, like... Okay, I bet that, like, you guys have, because you are, like, filmmakers
people?
and movie people, and I don't know if it's a generational
Not
thing.
him.
I don't
not
give a
him.
shit about Avatar.
Me.
Okay, that's fair.
I
don't
love
know-
it.
He loves Avatar.
I've met like single digits people in my life that even like have seen the first Avatar. Like, it's so bizarre to me that that is like one of the best selling movies of all time, and that the second one came back and did it again. It makes me feel crazy. Like, I don't believe that.
Like,
So
we're missing
spend
something.
$25, go see the new Avatar for 3.5 hours in high frame rate 3D IMAX, and be like, why is this more real than real? What I'm looking at right now.
Just the visuals? That's
No,
It's just the visuals.
it was also.
Are you telling me the story was
There's
compelling
not
to you?
The
characters
story
in
was
it.
compelling. The characters are memorable and
No, they're
different.
not.
Yes,
There's a
Sigourney
whole-
Weaver
Yeah, if you
as
like the Transformers movies.
no.
James Cameron like doesn't. I don't like his like writing either these days either. Like he writes them like they say bro and like dude and bro. Like why are they talking like
it's like bad
surfer
politically too.
bros?
Why is it bad politically?
Yeah.
Because of all the colonial implications, where it's like this really interesting setup of an idea where it's like, what if the sort of colonizers in this scenario could literally create like puppets in which they can assume the form of the indigenous people,
Telling ya.
and then instead of like doing like instead of taking the next step in and making that like an interesting commentary, it's just like, that'd be cool, huh? Like it's
Yeah.
just James Cameron being like,
No,
Service
because
level.
the commentary is that he has to like cut off his ties to the old world he's
He
from.
hated the old
And-
world where he was from. Anyways,
But
so it
the
doesn't
old
matter.
world
They
he's
threw
from
him
is
out.
bad.
what does
They
that
threw him
say?
out.
What does that say
Yeah.
about our world?
It's bad.
It was so
It's-
bad that he wanted to leave.
We're the aliens in these movies. Like it's,
Also, okay, here's my other problem with Avatar. These people are aliens. Why are they
Non-spoilers.
talking like a bunch of
Wake up,
teenagers?
David.
Why are they calling each other bros?
So
Why?
a bunch of them are teenagers
Yeah, but you're not
that
on
are
Earth.
saying bro.
We would not have this kind of language on a different planet.
Because it's to get across a
it's the
emotional.
universal language.
Like teenagers on Earth are teenagers on
Any other planet?
yeah like
This is, see, Doctor Who is airtight. Doctor Who, you have the TARDIS creating a telepathic field which will translate any language. See, I don't have a direction to go.
Well, let's just end this segment
I
so that we
truly
can go into
don't think I
spoilers.
agree with the
Even if they're
fault.
teenagers, like there are ones who aren't teenagers, everyone still talks the way like a
To who?
person who is never like in the military thinks military people talk to each
Yeah.
other. Oh, like with that swagger.
But
and
some of
everything.
it's so funny. Like in the third one, when Stephen Lang delivers some lines, it is he laughed, I laughed, and it was like here's like what
it helps that he's a really good actor, so I can.
and he's giving
you
the
know.
epitome of like here's what the asshole military guy would say in this scenario.
Yeah.
And it's really funny, and you haven't heard
that's-
exactly that joke before.
I'll give you that
And-
for one character, but like everyone, when I finally watched the first one a few weeks ago for the podcast only, I went 16 years. I made it 16 years without watching it.
I
Like,
didn't get whammed
it's-
till the 18th. Okay,
Everything,
Right.
like everyone's talking to each other in that same sort of like jargon, like that swagger of like they're not just teenagers. Like I don't even think there are I can't even think of any teenage characters in the first one.
Everyone
They
is
aren't
coming.
We're not debating the writing quality of the Avatar movies.
I-
I must
Apparently,
put a stop
Kyle
to
said it
this.
was compelling.
I think
Yeah.
it's compelling. I think you guys
It's
are
like,
missing
at
something.
least like the MCU has like characters that you are kind of interested in where they're going.
Yeah.
I
because
don't.
you've read the books.
But you have to watch the next 5 TV
Yeah,
shows.
well, the last
Yeah.
10.
To see
Well,
where
now
they see where they're
started to fall
going.
off. Yeah.
This episode's gone off the rails. and you're
Present tense.
bullshit.
I didn't mean that present.
Do not have to watch every interconnecting thing. Things can exist on their own without the other things in the MCU. This is a claim you keep making
Yeah, but-
that is not borne out from your actual experience.
It is though, because every time I watch a Marvel movie, I'm like, who the fuck is this? I can tell this person is this thing or this character or whatever is supposed to be some big thing I'm supposed to recognize, and I don't recognize them because I didn't see the other fucking movie or the other fucking TV show. So like, it's very obvious when they're trotting out something that, hey, fan service, here it
I
is.
have a
You
feeling
recognize
about
this
this.
person.
I
I don't.
like where the MCU is at, like not where it's going right now with the like Avengers movies, but where it's been in the past year or two with like Fantastic Four and Thunderbolts, because it's the most like a comic book it's ever felt, where it's the most just sort of like,
Disconnected.
yeah, it's the most disconnected and just sort of like, yeah, we're just throwing you into these story. Here's these characters. It's also like, I think that comic books, the type of storytelling that it is, not just the type of sort of continuity that they do, but the type of storytelling that it is not for everybody. And I think that the MCU for a long time has done a very good job of kind of being for everybody. And I think now it is kind of filling the same niche that comics fill for film, where it's like, yeah, you just like these characters and you want to see a bunch of different creators do a bunch of weird, different things with these characters. And some people are not going to care about that. And I think it's becoming it's kind of falling back to the niche that comic books are in. And I like that to a degree, but I also don't think it's very consistent.
I can see that because from what I was never a huge comic guy, but what I know of comics is that they would do storylines that that where like someone died, like Superman's died at least once in the whole. If you take the whole comic series, so like, and then he always comes back. Like, and I don't know if they're doing different continuities, like the Halloween movies. I don't know if they're doing it like that, or if he actually comes back to life, or if they just retcon it. But the movies are kind of it seem like what I know of comics, where like stuff happens, but then eventually it doesn't matter. Like, because Steve Rogers is back.
Can I give a counter back to him and both of you actually on this? Because I 100% disagree in the sense that, like, yes, there is a view of what you're saying of the modern MCU where it's like, this is what it is. You're here for Fantastic Four. You like this or not? He's going to grab a chocolate, let him eat the chocolate. But I'm going to use a movie Nick's actually seen. Well, Nick's seen about 60% of. He fell asleep in. Yeah, like, you don't need to know that you don't need to know that Yelena was in another movie. You get introduced to Yelena at the beginning of Thunderbolts, and then she has an entire arc within the Thunderbolts.
I agree with you 100%. What I was saying about being thrown into it, I was saying just the fact that they are like, they're not building a universe anymore. They're like, yeah, you're in this universe, but it's not like they expect you to know everything about it. They just don't spend as much time like setting the stage for everything in a way that I like.
Not in the way they did with like the Thor's hammer at the end of somebody's movie, where it's like, oh, the next movie's Thor.
I think it's it, but they are kind of doing that again, and I think that's like a very sort of like, I think that the people behind these movies started to be able to get weirder and more comic booky with them. And because of that, they started making less money from them, and now they're trying to course correct, and it's gonna not work.
I agree with both of you on the character part of Thunderbolts. Like I thought the character introduction, like I didn't feel the same thing when watching other Marvel movies, where like, oh, here's this character I don't know. Like they felt like proper character introductions for those characters, even though I knew some of them were previously. My problem with Thunderbolts was different, but like I can agree with the character introductions felt like a standalone.
It also was like most of those characters were not very three-dimensional characters before that movie.
Oh, the characters outside of the movie aren't three-dimensional characters. I would have a narrow like argument about. No, Bucky has an arc. You see, and you can see him from.
Bucky's an exception though. Like,
see, exactly. The first one I picked out was like, but he doesn't know who the fuck Bucky is.
Like Florence,
the metal arm guy.
Yelena and Bob was introduced in that movie, but Yelena and like John Walker were like served narrative functions in somebody else's story.
Yes.
And now they're being made into three-dimensional characters, and I think that's why it works in that way. And yeah, but I think that like Bucky is proof that they do a good job of like, I don't think you need to know who he is for him to work in that movie.
How do we feel about the linearity of the Benoit Blanc Knives Out series? Because there is some linearity.
Linearity? How do you mean?
I actually don't think there really is. I was thinking this the second time I watched Wake Up Dead Man. I think that you could watch those in absolutely any order, and it would.
Is that what you mean? Like
there's some linearity
there's no references
from Knives Out to
the other movies.
His hair gets longer.
His hair gets longer. I believe, references another officer.
He could have made
I don't think he even references that. I think that. Are you talking about when the like sheriff in Wake Up Dead Man says that she got his information from the cop from the first movie? But that's like more of like a nod than it is continuity.
Yeah, you don't like that. You could have that same comment and have it be about a movie that didn't actually exist as a movie, and it would still work.
Yeah, I think so too, because they do that. Like they make a point of doing that, where every time somebody recognizes him at the beginning of one of these, it's referencing a story that we haven't seen.
Mm-hmm.
The linearity is that in one, we meet him at the top of his game. Two, he's kind of bored. and then 3 he's kind of finding his faith again. And
Isn't he always at the top of his game, though, technically?
not never at the
If
top.
you're bored, aren't you at the top of your game then?
He's bored in 2, and he's going on this thing, and he's trying to make it interesting for himself by like, hey, I need you to pretend to be this person.
Yeah, but if you're...
Buttress,
how would you be bored?
Buttress any of your previous...
But if you're not at the top of your game, how would you
I think that
not be bored?
Where he was at in Glass Onion, I think, was more of a joke about the circumstances of COVID than it was anything else. I don't think
Yeah,
that
I
was
think
about
he
his
was-
character. I think he's very much just someone who is like, where he starts each movie is just kind of like either a joke or just kind of based on the sort of where anybody would be at, where he would be at in the world right now. I think that I don't think that Wake Up Dead Man was really like a character. Like, he learned something, but that was more kind of like in the same way that he learned something in Glass Onion, where Glass Onion was like he realized that he was wanting like he can make things harder for himself by wanting them to be more complicated than they are. You know, in Wake Up Dead Man, he learns, without spoilers, like the importance of kind of myth and storytelling, but it's not like he fundamentally changes as a character.
Yeah, he's the
he
same
just kind
guy.
of learns whatever the theme of the movie is.
Yeah.
I think he's very much, I don't think he's a very fluid character in a good way, because I don't think he's like he's the through line of the movies, but I think that it's been intentional that he's not really the protagonist of any of the 3 movies.
He doesn't have the arc.
Yeah, he doesn't have I feel like I think these work because, in a way where you could watch them completely in any order, because he's never applying what he learned in the last one to the current one.
Yeah, it's not a build.
I think that the only way that they could do, like, I think that will be borne out maybe in the next one because, like, not to spoil, but this ends with, like, his reputation kind of being damaged in a way. And so I think that what we're talking about will be supported or disproven by if they do something with that in the next one. I hope that they don't, because I think that they should continue making
You think there should be a next one, and you don't think the events of this movie should play into the next one?
No, because I think that it's been pretty deliberate that none of them have affected the next one or been affected by the previous one. I think that it's meant to be... Like Sherlock Holmes stories work very similarly, where they'll maybe offhandedly reference another story, but they wouldn't ever, like... There's never really, like... They'll do this maybe a little bit, but it's kind of designed to be like something that you can just pick up at any time and not be missing anything at all for the character, and you can do them in any order. And I really like that. I think that is it's not even that it's like good or bad storytelling. I think it's just something that we don't see enough of these days.
It's called episodic instead of linear.
Yeah.
I think what they have in place of a main character that you will follow well, obviously people like the personality of Benoit Blanc, right? But like you're not waiting to see him grow, right, over the movies. In fact, I think one of the things that made Glass Onion weaker was kind of making him more of the protagonist than
because he's in it from the beginning.
Yeah,
rather than and then the reveal is who the actual main character is.
So I think the main draw of the movies is like, do you have like each one does kind of like tackle a certain theme, cultural theme, I guess you could say, and the merging of that with a mystery, with a clever mystery, maybe less so less clever in Glass Onion, but like, you know, that's what I show up for with a Knives Out movie.
Yeah.
And like, so instead of a character that you're never gonna see these characters again, you're never gonna see Josh O'Connor again, probably.
And you
but
usually do get a good character arc too in the. And that's another way that Glass Onion... We're saying a lot of mean stuff about Glass Onion. That is like a 8 or 9 for me, personally. I just think that Knives Out and Wake Up Dead Man are 10s for me. And so, like, I do think that we can look at how that one fell short, is that I think that one didn't really have a character arc for the actual main character. Yeah. And it also didn't have as compelling of a mystery, and so it didn't wasn't firing on all cylinders. This one had maybe the best main character and maybe the best mystery that we've seen so far, and also...
Why? Because he's a white Catholic?
Yes, exactly. I just am really against DEI and... No,
Jeez.
I loved Ana de Armas. Clip that. And I love Ana de Armas in the first one, and I think that she was a brilliant character. I think that we got to see much more of kind of... I felt more connected to Josh O'Connor in this, and not like I identify with him more, because I'm not... I've never had faith to question, and I haven't killed anybody yet.
Yes.
So, is that a spoiler?
No, because
I
they
think so.
established that right at the beginning.
No,
I
okay.
do really like the character as someone who's not religious, and like I think we'll save it for the spoilers, but like there's a scene right in the middle that made me like really respect him.
Yeah.
Probably.
Is it the phone call scene?
Yes.
That's the best scene
Yeah.
in the movie,
Yeah.
I think.
The phone calls.
Yeah, I think we did a pretty good
We'll
deep
talk about
dive
that in
on
spoilers.
Hey, we need to
these
do
other
some more
movies.
of this,
Yeah, so
not this.
Okay.
it's how we do spoilers. Thank you for listening. For more JK Productions, find us on Instagram at JK Productions Team and on Facebook, JK Productions MN.